what are words? Where do they come from? How do they arise from things, from names, from woodlands, from rivers? How are things named before we named them? Was an oak tree in the knowledge it was an oak tree? Did it call itself this? Were its leaves a form of language? Well, some science suspects actually that's exactly what they are. That roots and leaves and trees actually speak to each other using their own words. Now, that's a scientific potentiality, sure, but is it a metaphor? And that's what we're going to be looking at in this episode. The power of metaphor. And today, we're going to begin with a riddle. Now, I guess the question for us all is, what does this riddle mean? If we ask what words mean, what do words in combination in the form of a riddle, what do they actually mean? Well, this riddle here is over 1,000 years old. Let me just read it to you. I was an orphan before I was born, cast without breath by both parents into a world of brittle death. I found the comfort of kin in a mother not mine. She wrapped and robed my subtle skin, brooding warm in her guardian gown, cherished a changeling as if close kin in a nest of strange siblings. This care quickened my spirit, my natural fate to feed, fatten and grow. Gorged on love, baiting a fledgling brood, I cast off motherkin, lifting windward wings for the wide road. Question I ask with a piece of writing, whether that's a poem, story, TV script, is, do I like it? Do I feel towards this? Am I enjoying that? I know it's kind of almost an unfashionable thing to say, actually, when one's also interested, as I am, in aspects of craft and technique and audience. But after all, we are who we are, and our feelings towards each other are, they're terrifically important. And so I ask this particular piece of writing, this ancient 1,000-year-old poem, do I like you? Good news, I do like it. And the reason I like it is that it does something which I find very rewarding. It surprises me. It's like a birthday present of words presented to me 1,000 years after it was made. And isn't that brilliant? Isn't that what we want? Surprise. The gift of the unknowable coming to you and making itself known through this little story. Now you may be asking straight away, hang on, what does this mean? What is this riddle? What's the question? What's the answer to this? My point about this is that this piece of writing is all metaphor. It's total metaphor. It doesn't yield its meaning straight away. It yields all sorts of beautiful phrases, absolutely. What does the poem mean? It's a question often asked in schools or universities, and it's often a question that puts people off poetry and it puts people off writing. And I don't think that's the first question that you ask of words. What you ask of them is their strength and their surprise, their gift to us as a form of our tongues, of voices and languages throughout the world. Not, does this poem work? What does this poem mean? But does this poem bring light and joy to you? Why? Because light and joy were the first purposes of this poem. I'm standing here in ancient woodland. This, where we are standing now, is a fragment of the forest of Arden. The forest of Arden. The site of Shakespeare's play, As You Like It, a fragment of countryside no more than 3 miles from Stratford-on-Avon, the birthplace and death place of William Shakespeare. The likelihood is he wrote many of his plays not far from where we are recording this right now. Arden. Arden is a kind of Eden. It's a kind of metaphor for Eden. And yet here we are standing in its reality in the middle of an old woodland. And this poem is as old, if not older, than some of these oak trees. This is 1,000 years old. This is like a growing tree that I'm holding here in my hand and giving language to by reading it, in the same way, as I said, that the oaks are talking to each other through their leaves and their roots, through the language of their very being. Another reason I love this piece of work is because of its usefulness. That may seem a strange thing to say about a piece of written art, that it's useful, that it has utility, as much as these trees have some utility if they were made into furniture. But the utility is this: the poem is written with a total awareness of its audience. The total metaphor being presented here is there to create enjoyment in an audience. Who is this audience? Well, this audience is a group of people in a monastery 1,000 years ago, and this poem was written by a monk whose job it was to entertain his brothers at the end of a long working day. And they would sit there, they would enjoy the music, they'd enjoy the craft, they'd enjoy the surprise, they'd enjoy the joy. And they may even guess the riddle, and that might be a special prize at the end, that they know that this, in fact, is a poem about a cuckoo. And then when you reread the poem and you think, oh, of course, cherished a changeling as if close kin in a nest of strange siblings. You think, oh yeah, of course, it's a cuckoo. But knowing the meaning of the riddle adds very little towards our excitement about the language, about these words. That's just an answer. That's sometimes why, with a piece of fiction or a story or a poem, it's never a great idea to give the title of the thing as an answer, if you like, to what the thing means. It's something quite adjacent to it. That's something I'd really like you to think about, actually, as a result of this. One of the things I'd really like you to do is think about how you might write a piece of writing that is all metaphor. So to go back to that idea about it being useful because of an audience, it's also useful in the terms of natural history. People living 1,000 years ago would have depended upon their lives to know what was going on around them in terms of natural history. What could be used? What was good firewood? Which fruit was the best eating? What was poisonous? What could be helpful to human life? And the monks who were writing these poems knew their natural history inside out. They were the first ecologists. They were natural historians, not just of the world, but also of language too. Theirs was an ecology of words. To know the names of real things. To name and noun everything one sees. To know how it works. To know what's safe. To know what's unsafe. All those were factors in the lives of people living not really that long ago, and even in the world now. You have not just to know the names for things and the nouns for things, you have to know, if you like, what those things are in relationship to you. I'm going to finish with a final total metaphor riddle from the same period. But before I finish, I just want to say, I'd like you to try this. I'd like you to try to find something, not a person, but a thing, a real thing, possibly a living thing, sure, and to turn it into metaphor after metaphor after metaphor, saying what it is in the terms of something else. And why is this a fun and interesting thing to do? Well, because as I said to you in an earlier episode, seeing things in terms of something else, making the visible invisible, going beyond thinking into feeling, actually the transformation of something into something else gives it far greater agency in your writing and brings it more clearly to the view of readers. It presents something surprising and fresh that invites them in and holds them in your arms. Now, with this final poem in total metaphor, I'm going to give you the answer to the riddle at the end of the poem. Shunning silence, my house is loud, while I am quiet. We are movement bound by the Shaper's will. I am swifter, sometimes stronger. He is longer lasting, harder running. Sometimes I rest, while he rolls on. He is the house that holds me living. Alone, I die. Can you guess what that is? I'm waiting, I'm listening, waiting for your guesses. Well, actually, it's not just one thing, it's two things. It's a fish in a river. And it's no longer just a fish, by the way. It's a salmon going upstream in a river. Sometimes stronger, he is longer lasting and harder running. Sometimes I rest while he rolls on. He is the house that holds me living. Alone I die. And isn't it just more exciting to have it all in metaphor rather than me saying to you, hey, it's a salmon in a river. Thank you for watching The Life of Words, revealing the inner life of language through stories, through poems, and through writing across the world. If you'd like to see more of these episodes, please help by liking this channel and subscribing to the future episodes. Thank you so much. I'd be delighted to see you again as we continue the exploration of this world through words.